The most important of the Ashvin legends, for our purpose, is the story of Atri Saptavadri. He is described as having been thrown into a burning abyss and extricated from this perilous position by the Ashvins, who are also said to have delivered him from darkness. Thus the Ashvins are represented as giving a son called the Gold Hand to Vadhidramati, or the wife of the eunuch, while a him whose seer is Saptavadri himself, the latter is represented as being shut up in a wooden case from which he is delivered by the Ashvins. Upon this, Professor Max Mueller observes, "If this tree or this wooden case is meant for the knight, then, by being kept shut up in it, he is separated from his wife, and he was to her like a Vadri, or eunuch, and in the morning, only when delivered by the Ashvins, can he become once more the husband of the dawn." But the learned professor is at a loss to explain why Atri, in his character of the nocturnal sun, should be called not only a Vadri, but a Saptavadri, or a Seven-Eunuch. Vadri, as a feminine word, denotes a leather strap, and as pointed out by Professor Max Mueller, Sayana is of opinion that the word can also be used in the masculine gender. The word Saptavadri may therefore denote the sun, caught in a net of 7 leather straps. The different incidences in the legend clearly point out that a 7-eunuch, and not a person caught in 7 leather straps, was meant by the epithet as applied to Atri in this legend. As stated above, the whole hymn of 9 verses in the 5th mandala of Rig Veda is ascribed to Atri Saptavadri. The deities addressed in this hymn are the Ashvins, whom the poet invokes for assistance in his miserable plight. The first 6 verses of the hymn are simple and easily intelligible. In the first 3, the Ashvins are invoked to come to the sacrifice like 2 swans, and in the 4th, Atri, thrown in a pit, is said to have called on them like a wailing woman for assistance. The 5th and 6th verses narrate the story of Saptavadri, shut up in a tree or wooden case, whose sides are asked to tear asunder like the sides of her who bringeth forth a child. After these 6 verses come the last 3, which describe the delivery of a child that was in the womb for 10 months, and Vedic scholars have not yet been able to explain what rational connection these 3 verses could possibly have with the preceding 6 verses of the hymn. According to Sayana, these 3 verses constitute what is called the liturgy of childbirth, while Ludwig tries to explain the concluding stanzas as referring to the delivery of a child, a subject suggested by the simile of a wailing woman in the 4th verse, or by comparison of the side of the tree with the side of a parturient woman. It seems, however, extraordinary, if not worse, that a subject not relevant except by simile or way of comparison should be described at such length at the close of a hymn. We must therefore try to find some other explanation, or hold with Sayana that an irrelevant matter, that is, the liturgy of childbirth, is here randomly inserted with no other object than to make up a number of verses in the hymn. These verses may literally be translated as followed: "Just as the wind shakes the pool of lotuses on all sides, so may your embryo move in your womb, and come out after being developed for 10 months. Just as the wind, just as the forest, just as the sea moves, O 10-mouthed embryo, come out of the outer cover. May the child, lying in the mother's womb for 10 months, come out alive and unhurt, alive for the living mother." These 3 verses, as observed above, immediately follow the verses where the wooden case is said to be shut and open for Saptavadri, and naturally they must take into referred to, rather than as forming a part of the same legend. But neither the vernal nor the dawn theory supplies us with any clue whatsoever as to the right interpretation of these verses. The words used present no difficulty. A child full grown in the womb for 10 months is evidently intended, and its safe delivery prayed for. But what could this child be? The wife of the eunuch Bhadramati is already said to have got a child through the favor of the Ashvins, so we cannot therefore suppose that she prayed for the safe delivery of the child, nor can Saptavadri be said to have prayed for the safe delivery of his wife, who never bore a child to him. These verses, or rather their connection with the story of Saptavadri, told in the first 6 verses of the hymn, have therefore remained unexplained present day. The only explanation hitherto offered being either utterly unsatisfactory, or rather no explanation at all. The whole mystery is, however, cleared up by the light thrown upon the legend by the Arctic theory. The dawn is sometimes spoken of in Rig Veda as producing the sun. This dawn cannot be said to have borne the child for 10 months, nor can we suppose that the word of 10 months, which is found in the 7th and the 8th, and the phrase Dasha Mashan, found in the 9th verse of the hymn, were used without any specific meaning or intention. We must, therefore, look for some other explanation, and this is supplied by the fact that the sun is said to be preeminently the son of Diveya Prithi, or simply of Devu in Rig Veda. And thus the sun is called Divasputra, or son of Diyu. And we can also read, Deyu is the father who begot us. Our origin is there. This great earth is our parent mother. The father laid the daughter's embryo within the womb of the 2 wide bowls. Preceding verse, we have, he, the son, yet enveloped in his mother's wound, having various offsprings, has gone into the region of Niriti. And further, that he who made him does not know of him, surely he is hidden from those who saw him. We also similarly find that these heaven and earth, bestowers of prosperity and all, the wide sustainers of the regions, 2 bowls of noble birth, the holy ones, between these 2 goddesses, a refulgent sun god travels by fixed degrees. These passages clearly show that the sun was conceived as a child of 2 bowls, the heaven and earth, and that the sun moved like an embryo in the womb, in the interior of the heaven and earth, and that, after moving this way in the womb of the mother for some time and producing various offsprings, the sun sank into the land of desolation and became hidden to those who saw him before. Once the annual course of the sun was conceived in this way, it does not require any great stretch of imagination to represent the dropping of the sun into Niriti as exit from the womb of his mother. But what are we to understand by the phrase, he moved in the womb for 10 months? Our Arctic theory explains this point satisfactorily. We have seen that Durgatamas was born on waters for 10 months, and the Dashagvas is said to have completed their sacrificial session in this same period. The sun can therefore be well described while moving above the horizon for 10 months as moving in the womb of his mother, or between heaven and earth for 10 months. After this period, the sun was lost, or went out of the womb into the land of desolation, there to be shut up, as in a wooden case, for 2 months. The sage Atri, therefore, rightly invokes the Ashvins for deliverance from the box, and also the safe delivery of the child, or himself, from his mother, after 10 months. In the Artha Veda, the sun, as Brahmacharan, is said to move between heaven and earth, and in the 12th verse of this hymn, we are told that, shouting forth thundering red, white, he carries a great penis along the earth. If the sun moving between heaven and earth is called the great penis, he may well be called Vadri, eunuch, when sunk into the land of Niriti. But Professor Max Mueller asks us, why should he be called Saptavadri, or the 7-Eunuch? The explanation is simple enough. The heaven, the earth, and the lower regions are all conceived as divided 7-fold in Rig Veda, and when the ocean or waters are described as 7-fold, or when we have 7 Danus, or demons, mentioned, or when Indra is called Saptahan, or the 7 Slayer, Vitra, who is said to have 7 forts, or when the cowstead, in which the 2 Ashvins are said to have opened, is described as Saptyasha, the sun who is the great penis and 7-rayed or 7-horse. while moving between heaven and earth may very well be described as Saptavadri, or a seven-eunuch, when sunk into the land of Niriti, or the netherworld of bottomless darkness, from which he is eventually released by the Ashvins. The last 3 verses can thus be logically connected with the story of Saptavadri, mentioned in the immediately preceding verses. If a period of 10 months during which the child moves in his mother's womb is taken to represent the period of 10 months sunshine, followed by a long night of 2 months, the existence of which we established by independent Vedic evidence. The point has long remained unexplained, and only by the Arctic theory can it now be satisfactorily accounted for. Enjoy exploring mysteries like this? Please hit that subscribe button and remember to tap the bell so you are notified when we put out new videos. If you have friends interested in historical mysteries, please share this video with them. It really helps us out a lot.